Now, one place we're not shy to have our say, of course, is on sport, especially we're all netball armchair critics, and with the Silver Ferns' crucial test on the weekend against Australia, we're all having our say. Well, someone whose say is probably worth listening to more than others, but she may not be too busy, she may be still recuperating. It's a very warm evening, and welcome along to Robyn Broughton. How are you, Robyn?
Good evening.
Now, the pressures of the Southern Sting campaign, the intensities, the highs and the lows, what's left of it in your mind? What are the highlights that stand out for you, Robyn?
Oh, I think the highlights are just the tremendous support and enthusiasm we had from everybody that came to watch the matches, the spectators, the administrators, everybody, and the team itself. I mean, we really worked hard and it all paid off.
Well, you've worked hard in netball for many years. Do you think it's changed now? It's gone to a different level?
Yes, it has, and we deserve it to be so. You spend a lot of time with coaching and you spend a lot of time with elite players that are looking to get better. And yes, it certainly deserves to step up a level. I think you would find many male spectators were agog at some of the skills that were shown by those girls over the campaign.
And we're all very expert on those skills too, and where teams should be. That had that in a wee
Yes.
moment. But I just want to ask you, what's a personal highlight, something that you got out of this that you haven't had out of netball before?
Just that step up, that level up amongst my own where I feel comfortable. I had done New Zealand Young Internationals and probably didn't have enough of this sort of thing when I was doing it, and this time with those girls,
you're talking about support?
More working with players that I myself selected, and I myself knew what was there and was able to use the coaching methods that I have to work with them, and I just thoroughly enjoyed that challenge.
That's going to roll on?
What? Into
the future, that team, that moulding that you've got on, you're going to get together again?
We haven't even had a debrief. It's been a bit difficult because both Bernie and Donna have been on New Zealand A team duty and Tasha Marshall's been on B team duty, so we actually haven't had a proper wind down yet.
So you'll answer that when you have your wind down?
I will.
Now, looking forward to the test, the Silver Ferns against the Australians. Now, have you been too busy or have you been able to follow it?
Oh no, I'd always follow that. I mean, it's like a rugby enthusiast, they'd always follow.
Yeah.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a challenge to New Zealand. I thought the Australians played their usual safe, secure sort of game. They know what they're doing, and they did it well. They
seemed to shut us down. The defence was just too tough.
Yes.
What happened?
Probably, I actually thought our defensive tactics were good. I would play space marking, which we were doing. We were playing...
Space marking? Now, just fill some of the others in on that, Robyn. I'm aware of what you're talking about.
Well, I suppose in basketball they call it a zone defence.
Right.
So you're actually defending in the zone, hoping to cut the speed of the players down. I thought that was quite effective. In fact, I thought there were some held balls the Australians had that we probably didn't get the benefit of. We need to have more, Donna needs more support in a shooting role. She puts up all the goals and we just expect her to get everyone. That's a lot, that's a big ask.
And it's like she's the only one in the circle sometimes. Do you need two in there making some space? Or?
Well, I'm not so concerned about the space, mate. Well, I suppose that's important too, but I do think that the shooter, the goal attack and goal shooter should be taking equal responsibility.
Now, you had Donna Lofagan over a long period of time and you built up a relationship between her and Debbie Munro. Now, do you see the difficulties? Do you see those relationships not quite there within the Silver Ferns?
Oh no, they're very highly skilled players and they're playing against defence. They're absolutely incredible, so they dictate. The Australian defence actually dictate the way we play, and we've got to really turn it around and dictate to the Australians how they play.
How can Donna get more space, get a better feed? What do we have to do? What does the team have to do around her?
Well, I think they're all working really hard around her, and I think they should stick to their game plan, have faith in it and belief in themselves, because I think it's the right thing, and just go for it.
Well, several times in that game I thought it was going to go anyway. Is that
yes.
How was your feeling?
No, I didn't really think that, because I think the Australians can dig deep and they kept up the momentum, and when things started to go wrong they just stick to their way of playing it and they play it. They don't give up on it if it doesn't happen the first time. They just keep going till it comes right for them.
Now, talking about them digging deep, they're also very deep with as far as the depth of players go, and behind the A team, and this came about in the result between the New Zealand B and the Australian B sides.
Yes, I think it's really a worry. I thought the score was far too big. I'm not sure of the selections of the New Zealand B side, but that's just me personally.
Well, we were trounced about 70 to 30 something, wasn't it?
70 to 35, which is a big score at the second tier level. Yes, it is a problem.
Now, you're saying you're concerned. You've been involved with a lot of those players in developmental squads.
Well, what worries me is we've just been through a very strong campaign, playing the Coca-Cola Cup. We've introduced this elite level. Did we pick out the next best players to play in the New Zealand B-side is what I would question.
So that gap may not be as big, it's just that the right players aren't there? There's
Well,
hope?
that's only my opinion.
Now, before you go, I've got to get your opinion also on the other big sporting event of the weekend, the Highlanders against the Auckland Blues.
Yes.
Now, what do you think, how's that game going to go and why? Give us your tactical viewpoint.
I'm no rugby expert and I'd never profess to be. We've had quite a bit of contact, not personally with the Highlanders, but they were marvellous supporters of us. We exchanged faxes several times. I just think that mentally they need to get themselves into it. I'm quite sure that physically they're perfectly capable of doing it. They just have to believe in themselves, their game plan, and mentally be tough about it.
Perhaps you should send them a fax to that effect, Robyn?
Oh yes, we will.
Okay. Thank you very much and congratulations again on the Southern Sting performance.
Thank you very much.
There we are, Robyn Broughton with some tips on the netball to help us on our way through, just wading through the tactics, I guess, of netball, and also a little few hints on the rugby as well. Big weekend coming up. We've got weekend events for you to show you what you can go to. Plus, they can make art out of anything these days. Back shortly.